Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all having a fabulous week so far and your Tuesday has gone marvelously. My name is Kerry Dupree and we've started here in Oldonyo, Kenya today with some very large elephant tusker bulls, and looks like we have a few zebra that have also joined us at the waterhole today. So on our MC team in Johannesburg we have Jordan, and on our tech team we have Marcel. So just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive experience. You can watch us on our app. If you're watching this on our website, you can register to ask those questions or send through your comments. There is a strap on the screen with our WhatsApp number. You can also message us on Twitter. Don't forget to use the hashtag @WildEarth. Yeah, let me know what's happening with your week so far. I'd love to know what snacks you have today. I had a lovely protein shake earlier with some very interesting herbs and spices, some ginger and nutmeg. Always good to get some ginger and nutmeg in during this winter time. Lots of sniffy noses and colds going around, so I very much believe in all those natural herbal remedies just to keep you going through these very cold winter days. Listening to these elephants as they congregate around this dwindling little watering hole in search for fresh water. Got some comments coming through from Joanne Baptiste. Thanks for your comment. Joanne loves this TV channel. It's a safari from your armchair. Yes, it definitely is an armchair safari. What a privilege we have, sitting in the comforts of our home, especially on these winter days. Nice, snuggly and warm while we watch all these different locations across Africa. We have some more comments from Penelope Kenyon. Hello, Penelope. She's sending her greetings to the Wild Earth team, all of our Zoomies and those chitter-chatterers out there. It is another beautiful sunny day here in Oldonyo. We've got a bit of cloud cover today. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit windy. It's a nice clear day here in Johannesburg. The sun is out and I'm wearing a pair of shorts, which I'm very delighted. So it's nice to have a bit of a break in that cold weather and enjoy the sunshine. Deb D is sending her regards, and good morning, Deb. She's coming in from Pennsylvania, US. I hope that you're having a nice warm day as well in Pennsylvania, just like we are having a warm day here in Johannesburg. Fuzzy Dunlop, thank you for joining us, Fuzzy Dunlop, for a tawny Tuesday. Fingers crossed we get some tawny cats today. Actually, very exciting news yesterday. We had a very eventful day live at the waterhole. I was also live at the waterhole yesterday, and we had a leopard just before live at the waterhole started. At Jabulani in Hoedspruit. Unfortunately, our feed was unstable, so we were not able to link across to that feed. But yes, I have my fingers crossed that we will have a very lucky tawny Tuesday. Maybe in one of our Namibia locations. We were at Ukukuyu yesterday, Safari Hook. So we went to Safari Hook yesterday, and I was mentioning that I've seen lions and cheetah at Safari Hook. So maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a tawny surprise on the show today. Robin McLean, thank you for sending your comment. Apparently these elephants have been very tactile over the last 30 minutes. We had a busy day, Robin, yesterday. Also here in Oldonyo, there were a few big elephant bulls coming through to the watering hole in Oldonyo. We also had our little warthogs, lots of zebra, of course, and I think we even had a few oryx popping in to the watering hole yesterday. Luckily, this watering hole is being pumped. Otherwise, I am pretty sure there would be no water left here for these animals. So having these water holes in different areas on private reserves is so important for these animals, as it gives them an extra source of water in these dry seasons where all the natural sources of water do dwindle and disappear, including all the natural rivers as well. just listening to the sound of these elephants as they're drinking. Luckily, they're letting this warthog, they're sharing their space today, and still allowing this little warthog to come in and have a drink. It's been quite chaotic at this waterhole the last week or so with all the zebras. The zebra a little bit more confident around the elephants, unlike giraffes. The zebra will happily come in and drink from this watering hole, even if there are a few elephants close by. Whereas the giraffe, shame. Yesterday we had a few giraffe males that were fighting here over the affection of some females, but none of the giraffe were brave enough to come down to the waterhole for a drink. So just some interesting facts about this location we're at the moment here in Old Donyo over in Kenya. So Donyo is located in the Chulu Hills of southern Kenya between Tsavo West and Amboseli National Parks. That's probably why we're seeing so many zebra at the moment. They're all congregating and migrating through to all these different areas between Tsavo and Amboseli, looking for water and grazing areas. So it's very similar to what's happening in Botswana. I'm sure we will go over to Moela at some stage and you'll see a lot of zebra all congregating. So Jinlin has sent through a comment. Old Donyo is having an elephant dance practice. Great choreography here. Apparently these elephants have been quite busy at Old Donyo. It does happen from time to time when you get more than one or two elephant bulls meeting in these social gathering spots. Can have a little bit of entertainment or activity, sometimes some vocalizations, and in some cases the elephant's bulls might fight with one another as well. A lot of pushing and jousting and testing each other, all part of their, very important part of their social development, these elephant bulls. Amazing how they know each other as well. So if elephant bulls meet another bull at a watering hole that they have met previously, they do remember individuals, as opposed to the body language is quite different if elephants have not met one another. Mr. Elemental, thank you for watching, Mr. Elemental. He says, good evening, Kerry, and thank you to all the animals we are watching. Yes, I am dying to see what animals we find out there today. Tawny Tuesday is on my mind, so if we could find any cats, that would be great. And I was just having a little bit of an update or checking through the locations to see what's been happening with all the Africam cameras, and I see our baboon over in Lentore that had the injured lip has still been seen recently. They uploaded a video about 18 hours ago, so it's a female baboon that does have quite a serious injury on her face. It tells many stories and also shows how resilient wildlife is and the strength that these incredible creatures have to survive in the wild. I think it was last week we did see this troop of baboons, that there were two baboons that did not look very well. So this female with the part of her upper nasal or upper jaw was missing, and there was also a big old male baboon that had a puncture wound in his face, and he did also look like he was a bit poorly. So incredible how these wild animals can survive so many different injuries. They have such a strong bodies, such strong immune systems.
Join me for a magical safari to India, a wildly exotic land of tigers, temples and Kipling. To start, we'll head to Pench and then to Doba to look for the famed Bengal tiger, as well as deer in the dappled forests, sloth bears and countless birds. We'll stay in stunning eco-lodges that blend luxury with a light footprint. Our Indian adventure culminates in Agra with a sunrise visit to the Taj Mahal.
The Wild with Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
But nature is beyond amazing. Nature is just everything.
We'd love to hear from you. Questions, comments about biology, Africa, safari. She's using her tail like a monkey.
We are here with a male leopard.
Right, we're over to Jackie's pan here, and I got a hippo out of the water. So we've been having a lot of hippo activity later. We had a hippo yesterday that we got a nice close-up of. Got to see those whiskers on the front of their snout there, their nose as they go underwater, and how they actually close those little open nasal cavities of theirs as they go underwater to prevent the water from going into their noses. But yeah, it looks like a nice cool day on winter. It's common to see hippo out the water. Oop. Just linked across to Naledi, so I think maybe our feed was a little bit unstable there. And we've got some more elephants. Seems like a very busy elephant day. We've got elephants at all of our locations coming in to have their midday drink. Earlier we were talking about elephants and how they rely on touch. And yeah, it's a very important part of their communication. So obviously, because elephants have those long trunks of theirs, it forms almost like a hand. So they use their trunks while exploring, comforting one another, and even disciplining each other. So the females, this looks like a small family group with some sub-adults. So the female will use her trunk while disciplining her youngsters as well. I wouldn't want to be hit with an elephant trunk, I must say. So in close-knit family groups or elephant herds, elephants also will often lean against each other, wrap their trunks around one another, and this is a sign of affection or solidarity. So just a very comforting touch and feel. So they're very in touch with their touch, elephants, should we say. So even in conflict, when elephants are fighting with each other, this does also play a big role. I'm sure we've all seen elephant bulls shoving and pushing each other, using their trunk to slap one another, and even their tusks to move an individual out of the way. So yeah, it forms a very strong part of dominance, communication, as well as hierarchy. Looks like we have, I think there might be an impala in the background underneath one of these trees here. So talking about our cool sightings yesterday, we also had a sighting of two dik-diks at Lentore, which was my first sighting on Live at the Waterhole of a dik-dik. So that was also a pretty epic sighting that we had yesterday. It was a very busy day live at the Waterhole, and this elephant is coming to check us out. So it looks like an elephant cow or female elephant. She's coming for her close-up. Trying to listen out to see if we can hear any oxpeckers. Oxpeckers can often give away the presence of some larger mammals like buffalo, maybe some impala, some antelope that might be close by. So elephants do have peak periods where they like to drink between around about in the early mornings and late afternoons, and occasionally in the middle of the day. So animals are quite unpredictable. So the more we learn and study about animals, I feel like the more they try to defy us and go completely rogue and do their own thing. But generally at watering holes, elephants are often head to these water holes in the cooler hours of the morning before the day heat begins. And especially common for them to drink at night while they're feeding and walking. So yeah, the afternoons when the temperatures start dropping, great time for elephants to drink between about 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. This is a nice time because the temperature will start to cool down, and that's when they'll return to the watering holes for a drink. But if they're in the area of a water hole, they will often come for a drink while they're feeding in that area. Just have a bit of a quiet moment just to listen to these elephants. So we have a question here from Sibonelo Ntambo, is asking what makes elephants aggressive towards humans. So Sibonelo, often what makes elephants aggressive towards humans can be when elephants have a negative experience with humans. So that's why it's so important to be very wary of elephants, especially if they're elephants you do not know, because you don't know what the last interaction is that an elephant had with a person. So it might have been a bad guide that got too close to elephants, or a logistics vehicle traveling too fast through a national park that gave elephants a fright, and you just happen to be the next vehicle coming past and they just smell human and they remember that the last interaction they had was negative, and they come and maybe you end up getting the brunt of their aggression. Human-wildlife conflict can also be a contributing factor that gets these elephants riled up. So in a lot of these national parks and reserves where elephants do occur, there's not enough space left for all these constantly growing elephant herds and elephant numbers. So elephants will often then go into farmlands where they are not wanted by the farmers, and often these farmers will chase the elephants away. In small towns where elephants even come and eat the trash, they eat the rubbish, they come into people's gardens, break their walls down, like fig falls in Botswana. It's a very common thing, and the elephants, of course, can be quite difficult. They'll never go out the same way they came in, so they'll always break your wall in two places, come and steal your mangoes, your pawpaws. They love to feed on papaya, oranges, whatever they can find. And often this is not met to in a friendly manner by the humans that reside at these homes. So often they'll be chased away with pots and pans. In some cases, elephants, they can even get chased away with rifles, with weapons. People shoot above the elephants to chase them off of their private properties, on game farms or game reserves if they are trespassing. So this can all kind of accumulate and cause elephants to have negative experience with humans. Also in Zimbabwe, for example, I know elephants get hit by the train quite often. There's a railway line that goes straight through the country, as with most countries in Africa. And these railway lines often result in elephant deaths, and that can traumatize these elephants quite a bit. So that's why it's so important to make sure that when you do spend time with elephants, you always leave them with a pleasant experience, a good taste in their mouth. Leave them as you found them. If they're happily feeding and in a safe place, make sure you leave them happily feeding. We don't ever want to alter their behavior in any way for our benefit. Unfortunately, that is where a lot of trouble is also caused nowadays, when guides or photographers, for example, are pushed to get animals to react or act in an unnatural manner for that perfect photo. So that's why it's always best to just watch nature be as it is and not interfere in their behavior in any way. Then everyone is in harmony, and animals and humans can live together in peace. Got a few more questions coming through from Lucy. Lucy's asking, at what age will the baby elephant stop suckling from its mother? So yeah, we were just having a look at this little baby elephant here, very cute little guy that's just moved out of the way. And yeah, so to answer your question here, at what age do elephants stop suckling from their mother? So it kind of depends from reserve to reserve, but generally the elephants I've seen from between about 4 to 5 years of age, that's when they might stop suckling from their mother. But a lot of environmental factors can affect this, so quite interesting. Baby elephants will start eating vegetation between about 4 to 6 months old, but they continue suckling during this time, drinking their mother's very nutrient and protein-rich milk. It's very high in these nutrients, which helps the calf's immune system and to boost their metabolism. And the suckling process does form a very strong bond between the mother and calf. So yeah, about 4 to 5 years of age, these little calves should stop suckling.
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
Ring bark a tree and broken his tusk off. So Darkman Lover, I hope that answers your question about elephant trumpeting. So elephants will trumpet if they're upset, aggressive, or frustrated, but they can also trumpet when they are happy as well. So reuniting with their family, when feeling playful or excited. I often see elephants when they're running down a ridge to a watering hole. Sometimes the little babies give off a little bit of a trumpet, an excited trumpet, because they know that they're going to be drinking water soon. Just makes you so happy watching and listening to these elephants, doesn't it? I know a lot of our viewers are big fans of elephants, and our naturalists, I know Eric loves his elephants, and Liam, they are like elephant whisperers. They definitely love being around elephants. And I know Steve also has a soft spot for elephants. So I'd love to hear from our viewers what your favorite animal is. So my favorite animal, if I had to pick one of the big five, it would probably be a leopard. And outside of the big five, I'd probably say a zebra. So there's our WhatsApp line. Number is on screen. Check us out and send through those comments. I'd love to hear what your favorite animal is. Inside and outside of the big five, it can be anything. I'm going to go with leopard and zebra. Very interesting to know like all the characteristics of these animals that often people pick. You can find a lot of similarities in yourself as well, like when you pick a totem animal for a specific family. Often these totems will be given to people for specific characteristics or character traits that they might resemble. And yeah, these totems are also a very good way to protect animals, protect wildlife, and hopefully reduce human-wildlife conflict in village areas. Hello, Wildlife Lady. Thank you for joining us. Wildlife Lady is sending her regards. Good afternoon. Yes, these elephants are lovely, majestic elephant bulls. They've been at this watering hole for quite some time, apparently, these elephant bulls, being quite tactical and intimate with each other, touching their heads and, bonding with one another. Maybe it's a bachelor group that's all moving through together. Deb D has sent through a comment. Deb D's favorite animal is birds. I don't blame you there, Deb D. Yes, birds are lovely. I do like birds because when you're on safari, there's always birds somewhere around. This is Deb's favorite animal is birds. And yeah, birding is always a very resourceful last-minute backup plan, like baboons. If you are ever on a safari as a guide and it has been a quiet day like today, on some winter days it's very cold and quiet, just find a troop of baboons or vervet monkeys and you can sit with them for hours. Catherine's favorite mammal is a brown hyena and pangolin. That's very exciting, Catherine. Thanks for your comment. I'm not surprised about the brown hyena, and little baby pangolins are very cute as well. There's an organization in Namibia that is doing some research on brown hyena, and they posted some pictures a couple of months ago of these tiny little brown hyena. I guess you'd call them cubs or pups, and they are just the cutest little bundles of fluff that you have ever seen, with a small snout and these little beady eyes. Very, very cute to see brown hyena. I definitely recommend Googling baby brown hyena. Very cute little creatures. Whoop! We've got some giraffe joining us. So look, they've got some nice big giraffe male on the right. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll see some more giraffe fight club taking place. We had 2 male giraffes fighting here yesterday. So we have some more comments from Sadia. Favorite animal is leopard and cheetah. Yes, leopard and cheetah are very majestic cats and rather fitting for a tawny Tuesday. Leopard is one of my favorite mammals as well. Jordan, I'd love to know what your favorite mammals are. I know lots of people have soft spots for elephants, giraffe. So Jordan's favorite mammals are a brown hyena and a honey badger. We actually were talking about honey badger yesterday. We had a conversation yesterday about ice cream, and I guess that a honey badger would not think twice about stealing an ice cream from a campsite, I don't think. Yeah, honey badgers, very resilient little creatures. They pack quite a punch, and yeah, I've seen lots of videos of honey badgers escaping many predators, including lions, leopard. Yeah, shucks, in the Sabi Sands, there's so many videos always coming out of little honey badgers. They're quite feisty little creatures, and you do not want to mess with a honey badger. So Duncan has sent through a comment. Duncan's favorite animal is a cheetah and a lion. So lots of people love cheetah, and I don't blame them. They're very agile, tall cats. Yeah, very efficient hunters. And those baby cheetah, like at the Hoedspruit Endangered Species Center, are absolutely adorable. And they do look like little honey badgers when they're young. It's part of their defense mechanism. So we've got another comment here. So excuse me if I do not pronounce this correctly. Nsiwa Yas has sent through a comment. Your favorite mammal is outside of the big five, which is a skunk. And see what, that is a really interesting animal to choose, but great defense mechanism there by using that very toxic smell that skunks use to evade their predators. I think it's a pretty cool superpower that skunks have by using that foul smell to get rid of any predators. But yeah, and they're pretty cool with that black and white color of theirs that they have, skunks. So Robin McLean has sent through their favorite animals, definitely elephant, and the reason being for their social structure and matriarchal tendencies. Then another favorite animal is a giraffe for their grace and elegance. So thirdly, funny little warthogs. So thank you, Robin. I think that's a very good pick there. You've got quite a variety of different animals that you have picked, but yeah, very cool to learn about all these different animals and their different characters and behaviors that they display. I'm going to have a bit of a quiet moment, folks. Last week we had an epic sighting here at Old Donyo. We had a lizard buzzard that swooped down right in front of the camera here. Oh, our elephant bull was not happy that these giraffe were here. So we had a lizard buzzard that was around, and yesterday I heard him vocalizing in the distance. So let's have a little bit of a quiet moment to see if we can hear our lizard buzzard calling somewhere nearby. Hear our zebra frantically vocalizing somewhere close by. So during this time, obviously it's dry season and food and water are very short, and while these big herds of zebra are migrating and moving to different areas looking for food and water, they can cover hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, and in some cases they can get separated from their family members, and that might be what that zebra is doing. Might be trying to locate some lost family members. So seeing as we have so many viewers today that love cheetah and leopard, you'll be glad to know that at this location here in Old Donyo, it's not just home to massive elephant tuskers, but this park is also home to lions, leopard, cheetah, giraffe, as we saw, eland, oryx, and many, many more. So there's lots of wildlife that roam free in Old Donyo. There are no fences, which does give a truly wild and raw safari experience. These animals have a lot of space to move and roam. Oh, our giraffe have built up some confidence and come back to the waterhole after they got chased away by the elephant. Very curious to see if these giraffe are going to be brave enough to have a drink. So we have a question here from Jean Grove. Jean Grove is sending greetings and asking if a black panther can be found in this area, because that is Jean Grove's favorite animal. So Jean Grove, with regard to black panther, it isn't exactly a species, it's more a nickname for a black leopard. So this black color that they have is based on or caused by this is melanism, known as melanism, and it is a genetic condition which gives a dark and completely black coat. But they're quite interesting that these black leopards still have the dark colorations. They still have the patterns. So even though it's black, you can often still see the spots or rosettes on these leopards. But yes, in Kenya, Laikipia, we do have the famous black leopard geezer, and a lot of black leopard are being seen in Kenya the last couple of years. So yes, I hope that does answer your question. Interesting about the rosettes, and nice to see any of these photos of black leopard at night. Often you can still see that black coloration. So yeah, a black panther is more like a melanistic jaguar if you are in America. But in Africa, at Asia, this black panther is a leopard, not necessarily a panther. So yeah, jaguars also have rosettes actually, but they are much larger and include a central spot. The rosettes are slightly different in jaguars than they are in leopards. Oh, elephant sounds like he maybe had some spicy Indian food for dinner. He's got some flatulence he's released there. And I can hear our little Cape wagtail, could be pied wagtail, that's probably hanging out of this waterhole somewhere. Yoop. So Dennis has sent through a comment. Your favorite by far are leopards and eagles. Thanks for your comment, Dennis. Mr. Elemental said that he enjoys the rock dussies. Yes, I must say, do have a soft spot, Mr. Elemental, for little rock dussies. They are quite cute little critters. They just, I couldn't keep up with the rock dussie pace. They have a very lazy kind of lifestyle that they live up on those rocks there. Just like hippos. Yesterday we were comparing hippos and rock dussies, that they have pretty chilled, laid-back lifestyle. They don't do too much and spend very little time in their lifestyle, or should I say during their day, actually feeding. Most of the time they're just chilling, resting, relaxing. Oh, looks like a little wagtail might have caught a snack. Right, why don't we head across to Stony Point and see if we can find Mr. Elemental some rock dussies. So lovely to see some rock dussies out in the sunshine. I think if I wasn't doing live at the waterhole, or as soon as I'm done with the show, I might also go and sun myself outside. Especially on these winter days, it's just nice to go and sit out in the sun, solar panel yourself, get some nice vitamin D from the sunshine. These little rock dussies are perfect food or diet for the black eagle or Verreaux's eagle. So we've got 2 locations at the moment that do have little black eagle chicks, over in Walter Sisulu Botanical Gardens and Salati. So yeah, those black eagles, we have been seeing them taking in a few rock dussies into that nest to feed the chicks. And I think 90% of the diet of these black eagles or Verreaux's eagle is these little rock dussies. He's giving himself a good clean. So despite this, the appearance of these rock dussies, they do look quite guinea pig. They almost look like guinea pigs, like little guinea pigs. The closest relatives are actually elephants and manatees, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. A lot has to do with the canines that these little rock dussies have. They're very similar to the adapted canines of elephants, as well as the foot structure. So their little rubbery feet are specially designed for climbing on the rocks. They have these little special padded feet with sweat glands that help them to grip onto the steep rocky surfaces which they live in. So they live in little colonies, anything between 5 to 30 individuals, and they do spend a lot of time just kind of lazing around, grooming themselves, grooming each other. And then when they do go down to feed, looks like we got the vulture feeding at Safari Lodge, folks. Just have a bit of a quiet moment while we watch all these vultures come in for their lunch. Let's have a look, see if we can see any new vulture species today, shall we? And if you can find any new vulture species, please send your comments through, besides marabou storks, hooded vultures and white-backed vultures.
I feel it is a rosetted morning for us. So yes, let's see what we can find. My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marloth Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Palumba in the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
Hyenas love bathing.
Like anthrax, rabies, botulism and tuberculosis, because these vultures have very acidic stomachs, so they almost have like stomachs of steel. That strong acid in the stomachs of these vultures is strong enough to kill all those deadly pathogens and make which would normally make animals sick, including humans. Well, if we were to eat the food that vultures ate, I don't think we would live very long. So yeah, that does make a very safe waste disposal system for the natural world. So Deb D is asking a question. It's surprising that these vultures don't get injured in the feeding process. So Deb D, I'm sure sometimes vultures can get injured in the feeding process. I know we've had a few questions coming through the last couple of weeks about lions and if lions have ever attacked vultures. And yes, I have seen lions killing and attacking a vulture before, so it can be quite dangerous for these vultures while they're feeding. They have very sharp talons, claws and beaks. They do need to be quite careful when feeding. I've often seen vultures missing an eye, so they can get their eyes poked out, or infections in their eyes. It can be quite nasty. But yeah, they're such an important part of the ecosystem. And you can see a lot of these vultures, so most vultures do have bald or featherless heads, which does help to keep them clean, especially while feeding. So lots of these vultures will be sticking their heads into nasty, dirty, bloody carcasses. And if they don't have feathers on their heads, that means there's less mess that will be trapped in their feathers, which will reduce the amount of bacteria that they'll carry on their bodies. But after feeding, these vultures will often go down to the water, have a bit of a swim, just dry out their feathers a bit and try to keep clean. They also practice what's known as anting. So these vultures will lie with their wings open and allow ants to crawl all over their bodies. These ants then release formic acid, which can also help to act as almost like a sanitizer or a cleaning agent to help to remove their feathers from any bacteria and parasites. Fortunately, I'm not seeing any cool new vulture species. The other day at Moella, we saw what did we see? We saw a lapid-faced vulture, which was pretty cool to see over at Moella when that poor female wildebeest died. But for now, the only vulture species I'm seeing is the very common white-backed vultures, which are the larger-bodied vultures here, and the small, little brown, dark-coloured brown vultures with the very small beaks are hooded vultures. Alright folks, things have calmed down a little bit here, so let's go over to Moella in Botswana and see what's happening there. Oh, so it looks like another busy day here at Moella. I ever wonder how long all of these zebra are going to be migrating through. So obviously this is the middle of the migration season in Botswana for all these zebra and wildebeest. They'll be moving through, just like we spoke about in Kenya, looking for greener pastures and lots of drinking water. But nice to see some elephant bulls. We had some elephant bulls also visiting us here at Moella yesterday. They seem like they're on a bit of a mission, these bulls. Oh, have a look what we've got here, folks. A monitor lizard. So this guy looks like he's also up to no good. See that tongue of his? He's probably sniffing away to see if he can... so he'll be using that tongue to pick up any scents and smells. As the tongue comes back into his mouth, the scent or smell goes up into his Jacobson's organ, and that's what helps him to decide and analyze the scent to see what is out there. These monitors are special egg thieves. They like to raid nests of crocodiles, of birds, any water birds. That tail is quite a nasty little thing. They've got very thick skin, these monitors. It's very difficult to penetrate that skin to get into their flesh, and those sharp tails of theirs are very well used for flicking, so they can give you quite a nasty little flick on your nose if you're a young leopard. trying to get an easy meal, or what you thought might be an easy meal. That tail is a very good weapon against predators. So this Nile monitor is one of the larger members of the monitor family, found in most countries in sub-Saharan Africa and southern Africa, especially in drier regions. And I do like them when they're small. When they're young, they are black and yellow, and then the older they grow, the more they grow out of that black, deep black color. But you can see there's still a little bit of yellow on the side of this monitor lizard. So the Nile monitor, very fierce claws there for digging and scratching. See those little ear holes or ear openings on the side of his face there? They don't have typical ears like us humans do. They just have little open cavities on the sides of their faces. They don't make very good pets, these monitors. They also kind of like with the honey badger, they've got quite a nasty little attitude on them. They blend in very well to their surroundings. You've got the Nile monitor, and you get the rock monitor lizard as well. So the rock monitor lizards, they generally tend to be a little bit further away from water, sometimes sleeping in giant holes in trees. So we've got a question here from Duncan. So Duncan is asking, how long is a full-grown monitor lizard? So I'd say this monitor lizard looks like he's pretty well matured, quite a full-grown size male. So most monitor lizards will grow up to about 1 to 2 meters, or if you're measuring in feet, about 3 to 6 feet long, which is quite long for a monitor lizard. But yeah, this guy looks like he's quite well matured, and they do blend in so well to their surroundings here, so you better be careful that some food.
For years we've shared virtual wildlife. Now let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Oh, even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. Whoa. This is action-packed. My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. enjoy behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Break their tusks like that. And if you have a look on the right, there's this elephant bull that's got his trunk resting on the other elephant's back. So we were speaking earlier about how tactical elephants are and how touch is such an important part of their social bonding. So this elephant bull, I'm sure, is being quite affectionate with the other elephant bull. So you see it quite often with younger bulls and older bulls, and it's a way to win their affection and kind of in a way sucking up to the more dominant males, trying to gain their favor. Listening to the sound of these elephants slurping up the water. So we was talking about just now how elephants are so closely related to hyraxes, and since we've got so many big elephant bulls here with tusks, you can see how elephants have these enlarged tusks, which are actually upper incisor teeth made of ivory. So that is the part of an elephant that is most closely related to the little dussie. So those little rock dussies will also have quite large incisors, and they use those incisors in order to feed very quickly, so they're not on the ground for too long. Some of these elephant tusks can reach over 3 meters, 10 feet, so like the same size as a Komodo dragon, as we just discussed just now. And in some cases, these tusks can weigh up to 100 kilograms or over 200 pounds each in some large bulls. What is this elephant up to? Look at his trunk. You can see how this elephant's trunk looks like a little prehensile hand. So it's very sensitive at the tip of his trunk there. You can see the 2 little passages down his trunk, which he uses for sucking up water and then blowing it out into his mouth. So Darkmane Lover has commented that he loves Old Donyo. So Darkmane Lover, Old Donyo is a very special place. You get lots of magnificent and majestic big elephant bulls that come through here in Old Donyo. Lots of different species that also frequent this pan. Very incredible sightings in a very special place in Kenya. Oh. This is quite an entertaining view, I must say, this elephant. So just like humans, sometimes you have a needy day. I feel like this elephant bull is having a bit of a needy moment, and he's just like, I just need love right now. And he's just asserting himself over the other elephant bull, like, I'm just going to rest here because this is a very heavy trunk and I just need a bit of affection. Oh, have a look at this elephant. So as he turns his head, you can see he's got almost like a whole set of piercings, holes on the bottom of his ear there. There's like 4 or 5 little holes. I guess he's into the boho chic phase, having lots of piercings. But he's kind of missing the whole point. I don't see any earrings there. But yeah, lots of little holes at the bottom of his ear there. Perfect to identify this individual. So we have a question from Duncan. Duncan is asking, what makes some elephants get separated from the rest of the herd? So Duncan, during the dry season, when water is very sparse and elephants have to move very far distances to find water, babies can get separated from the herd because they just cannot keep up with those tiny little legs of theirs. But otherwise, elephant bulls will be separated from the herd once they start to sexually mature. So usually at the age of adolescence, between 12 to 15 years, that's when the young bulls will be separated from the rest of the breeding herd. We're just checking out this elephant's piercings on its ear there. I'm quite impressed. The spacing is very even. What has happened there? Almost looks like a little S shape as well. So this does happen often when elephants are moving through vegetation. They can get holes in their ears, but I've never seen a bunch of little holes quite so symmetrical on an elephant's ear before. So yeah, baby elephants getting separated, Duncan, from their family herd. Males will get kicked out of the herd when they are starting to sexually mature. Illness, when female or cow elephants start getting very old or sick or injured, that can be a reason for them being separated. If lions are hunting elephants, so often in Botswana, Zimbabwe and Zambia, lion prides, so very big lion prides, have actually learned how to hunt sub-adult elephants, and that can, they can end up separating these sub-adults from the rest of the herd, making that one individual very vulnerable and easier to take down. So these can be a few factors that can end up separating elephants from their herd. So last year, December, on my last safari of the year, it was quite sad. We saw a lot of baby elephants that were separated from their mothers, and a lot of mothers that had obviously lost their babies. So it's quite a sad time of the year at the end of the dry season to see this happening. But again, it does help to bring down the populations and reduce the amount of elephants, because there are lots of elephants in Africa, and just in some areas just not quite enough space for all of them. These elephants are having a real bro sesh today. I feel like they're having quite a nice little bromancing session. Cool, folks. It seems like we've got some zebra over at Serendella. Why don't we head across there and see what else we have? Lovely to see the zebra coming down for their midday drink. We had lots of elephants here yesterday. We also had a little baby elephant that was having a bit of a mud bath. Shame the zebra look like they're being pestered by lots of flies. So during the dry season we can have lots of flies building up and bothering all these antelope. So I don't know too much about this area, Serendella, and the thorny bush, but as far as I understand, it's quite a lush area with mixed savanna and acacia woodlands. You can see a bit of acacia woodlands just behind the zebra here. So it is obviously home to a lot of thorny shrubs, as you would guess in the name, thorny bush and trees. The landscape does include a lot of different species of plants, as well as thorny bushes, which do form quite a vital part of this ecosystem by making nice thick habitats for a lot of your little creatures and antelope. I think these river lions would make perfect habitat for your bushbuck, kudu, and all your antelope that do need to have quite thick vegetation.
The
just unfolds in front of you.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
And a male. Males can get quite aggressive when protecting their females. As we've seen over at Mawela, lots of male zebra or zebra stallions are fighting it out, trying to keep control of their ladies. Oh, speaking of Mawela, we are back here in Mawela, Botswana, with all of our zebra. Shame. I don't know how much longer these zebra are going to be able to frequent this water hole, because it is drying up very quickly. So it looks like our elephant are still way in the distance there. So not only is this area a hotspot for these animals to come down to drink, but you can see a lot of natural salt licks also forming in this old river line. So Lucy has sent through a question asking, do zebra stripes look the same? So Lucy, just like... This is our zebra giving their opinions. So the zebra are saying that no, they are all different. So each and every single zebra is different and unique in its stripes. Just like us humans, how we all have different fingerprints. So our fingerprints are different from person to person. So our characters and personalities, and very similar with zebra. They are all different and everyone is unique, just like with giraffe as well. You will not find one giraffe or zebra, two zebra or giraffe actually matching. They are all different. Lots of elephant bulls now coming down as the day starts to warm up, coming down for a drink. A few elephants standing under the shade of the trees in the distance. Alrighty folks, let's head across to the Serengeti and see what's waiting for us there. Oh, have a look here. Looks like we have got a nice big male buffalo, or Dugger boy, the mud boy, coming down to have a drink. I would not want to bump into this guy on any kind of safari besides a vehicle safari, I guess. Buffalo, especially these big buffalo bulls on their own, are notoriously known for being rather aggressive and having a very short temper. Buffalo needs to be very careful if there were any lions close by. This would be a perfect opportunity for them to make a kill. You can see that big boss of his, and he looks like he's not the cleanest buffalo. He's probably been having a mud bath somewhere. So we've got a question here from Harper, 10 years old, is asking, do they not get lonely? So I guess you're talking about this buffalo, Harper. And yes, I think that's why these buffalo are so grumpy, because they're all alone. So the buffalo breeding herds, the big family groups, Harper, will have a few males or buffalo bulls within that herd. But once they get too old, then they'll often get kicked out of the herd, or before they are old enough to get into a herd. So big bulls will only spend a small amount of time actually in the breeding herd. Before they go in, they'll be alone once they are still young buffalo bulls, and then when they're too old to stay in the herd, they will then be kicked out. So I'm guessing this guy, he looks quite well aged, so I'm guessing he's a little bit too old to be in the herd. He's not as strong as he used to be, and I think that is why they are so grumpy, because they spend a lot of time by themselves. So to protect themselves, these buffalo bulls might sometimes form a small little bachelor group, and he might join up with some other bachelor bulls if he finds them, and they are quite scary if you bump into these guys. They kill a lot of people in Africa, these buffaloes. They are very intelligent creatures, especially hunters. If hunters don't manage to properly kill a buffalo, and the buffalo ends up wounded and they have to track that buffalo, it is a very scary thing to do, because those buffaloes are even more upset and angry. So Jive Bunny has asked a question, is this a new camera? So yes, Jive Bunny, I think it is a new camera, although I do remember I have been to this camera before, so it's probably just been up a couple of months now. But yeah, we don't often come to this watering hole. I'm not sure if it's just not that busy, but lovely to see this buffalo here today that has an ox picker, giving him a little bit of a free grooming session. And off he goes. So we have a question from Spas Inkov, is asking how we could age a buffalo by its horns. So Spas Inkov, you can download, if you have a look online, there are quite a lot of different diagrams that you can use to age these buffaloes depending on their horns. But often you can tell if they're fully matured depending on that boss. So that very thick helmet, the shield that they have at their head, as a good way to age these buffalo. So another way of aging these buffalo bulls, Spas Inkov, is also the curvature and the form of the horns. So often when a buffalo is about 3 to 5 years of age, that is when the boss starts to thicken, and when they're 6 to 8 years of age, that's when the boss develops a very hard, solid base and fuses together at the middle. And then once they have surpassed the year, about 8 to 9 years, that's when the horns start to become chipped and broken. You can tell the length, the condition of the boss, and also the condition of the horns, and that's a great way for aging these old buffalo bulls. So Duncan, thank you for commenting on that. So Duncan's comment was, looks like this old buffalo is losing hair. What could be the cause? So Duncan, that is also a great way to age any animals, especially buffaloes, male and female. Once they start losing their fur, that is also a sign of their aging. Often these buffaloes, that once they get too old, they'll also start losing weight and condition with their hair falling out as well. So when they're still young and in their prime, they'll often be quite a little bit furry, but when they start getting older, they start losing a lot more hair and losing a lot of condition, and yeah, generally the aging process begins. Whoa, check out this big elephant bulls. We've been so lucky with elephant bulls here at El Doño today, and yeah, looks like another massive big elephant bull has just joined us. Definitely a little boy bonding session going on here between all of these elephants. This elephant that's just arrived seems to have some quite unusual flaps of skin on his side of his tummy there. Could be some old injuries of some sort. Elephants are prone to getting abscesses from maybe foreign objects piercing their skin. It's very difficult for anything to pierce an elephant's skin, but in some cases, maybe while feeding, they can get pierced with some small stumps or nasty sticks piercing their skin and can form quite nasty little abscesses. Have a look here. We're just having a look at those strange little skin pouches on this elephant bull. It could be a fat distribution problem as well, but yeah, he's got some very strange little fat pockets on the side of his belly there. Just trying to have a look, see, it doesn't look like this is an open wound or like it has any sort of little heads that have formed or any injuries. So I'm just wondering what could have happened to this elephant. Alrighty folks, looks like we've got some activity at Tau and we haven't been there today, so it'd be lovely to go and check out what's happening at Tau Lodge over in Madikwe. Alrighty, so this is quite an unusual little scene here because there's an waterbuck in the water and this crocodile is very close by. It's either a very brave or very silly waterbuck, but again, it could be thick mud, and if it is very thick mud, then these waterbuck, I think the crocodile would be a bit afraid to try to kind of make an attempt at a kill, because if crocodile don't have deep waters, it is difficult for them to suffocate their prey. Well done, waterbuck. I'm glad that you disappeared. There's been we've watched a few kills here, crocodiles killing waterbuck. So it seems like waterbuck is a favorite on the menu for the crocodiles here at Tau. Let's see what birds we've got. So we've got a grey heron. Oh, we've got some white-faced whistling ducks, some red-knobbed coots, maybe a black winged stilt or something black and white just off to the right. Also got some wildebeest lying down, having a bit of a rest, some zebra, blacksmith lapwings, and I think I can see our 2 crocodiles. Is that a spoonbill? Lots of water birds here. Oh, what's happening? Watch. The crocodile looked like he wanted to launch himself at something. Or maybe he's just trying to get out of the sticky mud. Crocodiles have to be very careful when these waterings are drying up, because they can very easily get stuck in the mud. It would make quite a sticky situation that might not end too well for the crocodile. So Dark Main Lover is asking a question. Do you know if these balls are related to one another? So Dark Main Lover, I guess you were speaking about those giant elephant balls, so the overall donio. So the chance of them all being related is pretty slim, but as you saw, they were all bonding quite nicely with one another. Little boy band bonding session with those elephants and old donio. So I'm going to guess they all do know each other. There might be a few individuals that are slightly related, but otherwise it did look like they were quite close with one another. Oh, looks like we've got a teal. Could have a Cape teal there. Spoonbills. Nice. Alright folks, looks like we've got some more activity over in Serengeti. Let's go see what's happening there. So this is, I remember I've seen these waterbuck before here at Serengeti Explorer over in Tanzania. It's obviously a very popular place for the waterbuck to all come down for a drink. So obviously with the waterbucks, only the male have horns, females don't have horns, so it looks like 2 females and 1 young male. You can hear them gulping away at the water. This is the same location we had the big buffalo ball earlier. So waterbuck do have quite a nasty, musky, oily scent, which comes from these scent glands from their skin, especially in males. The smell acts as a bit of a neutral insect repellent, and also possibly acting as a bit of a waterproofing agent for their fur and skin. Predators can smell this smell of waterbuck quite easily, and that's, I think, why not always waterbuck are not always the top of the menu for most cats. Although I do know leopard like to take down young waterbuck, but they won't always come back for a second feeding, and I think it's because of that nasty smell they release from their skin. So as with their name, kind of gives away a hint of their habitat. Waterbuck like to spend time close to very marshy water areas, and they'll often jump into a pan like this to escape predators. Oh, isn't this cute? Very wary, very cautious, which they have every right to be in case there's any predators around. They do have these long spiraled horns, waterbuck, which can measure about 100 centimeters or 40 inches. As I mentioned, they're only found on the males, and these horns are used for territorial fighting. It's quite dramatic if you've ever watched 2 waterbuck fighting. The males do push and thrust each other, or push and twist each other quite often, and trying to stab each other with those horns in order to fight for the females. So it looks like there's actually 2 young male waterbuck here.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Out here, every wild moment matters, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel, ad-free 24/7, where you can even rewind and watch something again. Get access to behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and access to early travel offers. It is the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
That do overlap. And the zebra seem a little bit nervous to come down and drink. Why are these zebras so nervous? I wonder if there's a predator around. Maybe they know we're looking at them. Wow, it's quite a big harem of zebra. Thought it was just a couple. So it looks like there's quite a few zebra all coming down very cautiously to have a drink. So we have a question from Karen. Karen is asking, why do some female buck have horns and some not? So very good question, why some female antelope have horns, and it can be because of defense. So in some species where females live in open habitat like grassland and semi-desert areas, they are more exposed to predators. So the horns do help with defense, either to fight back or to defend their young. So examples of these antelope where female have horns as well as gemsbok. So gemsbok females or oryx females have horns just as large as the males, and that is to help to defend themselves from predators. And then obviously we've just seen bushbuck. So bushbuck and as well as waterbuck don't spend much time in open areas, and that's why the females do not have horns. So I hope that answers your question there, Karen. So Annabelle is asking, do crocodiles need deep water to hunt? So yes, Annabelle, crocodiles do need to have very deep water to hunt their prey, as long as they can drag their prey into the water, and the water is deep enough that they can suffocate their prey, then they will be successful in their hunt. Whereas, for example, at Tau, we have had one sighting one day where the crocodile was trying to kill a wildebeest, but because the wildebeest was standing up, the crocodile was not able to take the wildebeest snout underwater, and in turn could not suffocate the wildebeest. So it was a bit of a tug of war. The poor wildebeest was trying to get its snout back, and the crocodile was trying to suffocate the wildebeest. And by the end of the day, the wildebeest ended up escaping the jaws of the crocodile because the crocodile got tired and could not get to deeper water. So Deb D is asking, what causes the waterbuck scent? So Deb D, this very strange and strong smell of that waterbuck is oil from its skin or glands, and it needs to have that oil, one, to protect its fur from water. They spend a lot of time in very wet environments, very thick reeded areas, so there are lots of watery terrain, but also it's a bit of an insect repellent because they spend so much time in these watery areas with lots of waterlogged or bogging. There can be lots of insects like mosquitoes, so it's an insect repellent and a waterproofing. Shame, these zebra are quite nervous today. I wonder why. So Lauren E is asking a question about zebra, and can a zebra have twins? If so, can they be identical like humans? So Lauren E, twins in zebra is very rare, and generally they will not be identical like humans. Let's head back across to Tau. There were quite a lot of water birds there. Let's see what we can find over at Tau. Alrighty, so we're back at Tau here, where we were talking about our crocodile and how this dwindling water levels are making it quite tricky for crocodiles to also hunt during this time of the year. So that's why they need to possibly move to other water sources so that they can hunt more efficiently. The crocodiles will normally move at night, and crocodiles can move quite a distance from one watering hole to the next. So see here with the zebra drinking, they'd need to be very cautious, very wary. If there's a crocodile close by and the water is deep enough, and crocodile could get his mouth wrapped around a zebra's snout and pull it into the water, that is how the crocodiles kill their prey. So crocodile only actually use the death roll once their prey is dead and they're trying to rip off pieces of meat. I think a lot of people have a misconception that the death roll in crocodiles is how they kill their prey, but it's actually only once the prey is dead and they're trying to rip off pieces of meat, the crocodiles will use that very famous death roll. Oh, there's our crocodile. We were just talking about crocodiles, Shem. I think he was trying to get out of the water just now. You better be careful he doesn't get stomped on by any animals. So we've got a good question here from Zach. And Zach is asking, why is it so uncommon to see twins in the wild compared to humans? So good question, Zach. So twins are not very common in the wild. I think with elephants, it's less than 1% chance of elephants having twins. And in the wild, it's more of a burden if they have twins, because it takes a lot of energy and a lot of nutritional demands on the mother for them to have twins. So wild animals survive on natural food and natural food sources, which does vary from season to season, and in droughts it can be very competitive for these animals to get food. So carrying and feeding two little babies requires a lot more energy. So many wild mothers just cannot support two offspring, so one or both would likely die in this case, or the younger, weaker individual will most likely die. So humans, we have access to a consistent amount of food, parental care, help, assistance, in order to raise twins, but in a natural environment it's just one mother that is left to raise these young. So I've just got a question from Nadine, also adding to the whole conversation of twins in antelope. So with antelope, as I mentioned, it's very risky for them to have twins. There's only one mother to look after them. But with predators, they have more than one baby, and that's because, again, the more little babies they have, the higher chances they have of more individuals surviving. I mean, for example, with cheetah, wild dog, and leopard, those three species are very prone to having their babies killed by lions. Lions can be quite destructive when it comes to killing other predators' babies. So it's common in cheetah for cheetah to have anything between 3 to 6 little babies, and the more babies that they have, the more higher the success rate of her being able to raise these youngsters. And predators, it's always safety. Well, hunting is better in larger numbers, so that's why predators are able to have more cubs, and hoping that they'll have a higher success rate of some of their cubs surviving. So even with cheetah, if a female cheetah has 4 little cubs, well, if 1 or 2 of them survive, that will be very lucky, but I mean, they can easily be wiped out in moments if they get found by lionesses. Same at Mabulla. Unfortunately, we had that very beautiful female cheetah at Mabulla that had 3 little cubs, and they were taken out by a leopard, so all 3 cubs killed, as well as the female cheetah. Baboons can also kill baby cheetah and baby leopards if they come across them and there's no one to protect those little ones. So yeah, very interesting how the predator-prey dynamics in the wild environment work. Alrighty folks, why don't we head back across to Eldonyo. We've got some zebra and some elephants waiting for us. Oh, is that a zebra? Red zebra? It was strange, our little zebra that we had at Tau looked like it had been maybe rolling in some red sand. It looked like it was a red zebra. So we've got a question from Karen. Karen is asking, are zebra stripes for camouflage or insects? So Karen, I think it's a bit of both. So zebra stripes do help them camouflage and blend into the natural environment, but also there's been studies showing recently that the black and white stripes of the zebra do help to repel insects, although their tails do come into very good handy as well. You can see the zebra are very busy swishing away all these insects with those tails of theirs. Shame. Every time I see a zebra in the bush that doesn't have a tail, often they'll lose their tails from either one fighting, or there's actually a little parasite that can get into their tails if they have any injuries and their tails end up falling off. I do feel sorry for zebras without tails, because they really use those tails a lot to swish away all the nasty little insects and parasites. The zebra will even stand top and tail, so nose to head and head to nose, or bottom to nose, bottom to head, to swish away insects from each other's faces too.
I met this remarkable rhino bull, whose name is Samson, last year in a place of extraordinary beauty, history and story. I'm going back there to see him in October, and I think you should come with me to his mysterious mountain fastness.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
best sighting I've presented. I found myself with wild dogs. We chased the dogs around, chased them around. They ate an impala. We got the end of that. Then another impala went into Gowrie Dam down the road there, and the wild dogs went around. Eventually the impala came close to the bank. One wild dog went and grabbed it and then just pulled it out and just did what wild dogs do. It was an emotional experience, but it was very, very special.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Opposed to our gemsbok, which is grayer body with more contrast. The facial markings, there's a slight difference in the facial markings. And the horns are pretty much very similar in the horns, but they both are a species that is not water dependent. So I think the Bisa oryx can go for much longer periods without moisture, and they do feed a lot on plants, just like the oryx we know in southern Africa and Namibia. Yeah, another little bird calling. Very unusual little bird, but I can't see it anywhere. What bird is calling? If we've got any viewers that are good, all brushed up on your Kenyan birds, I'd love to hear from you. What bird is calling? It could be a little lark of some sort, or a pipit. So here's our QR code on screen. You can scan that QR code if you'd like to help me identify this little bird that's calling. It's got a very small whistle call, kind of like I'm guessing either a lark or a pipit of some sort, but I'm not too up to scratch on my Kenyan birds. Yeah, it's kind of like a little whistling sound. So please, if you can give me a hand with the call that we're listening to right now. I have no idea what it could be. The bird we do often hear calling from this location, which I'm yet to see yet, as of yet, is the white-bellied go-away bird. I'll play that call for you while we try to figure out what this bird could be that's calling. So there we go. That is the white-bellied go-away bird. That would be a new one for me. It's quite a pretty little go-away bird, much prettier than our go-away bird or grey lowry in southern Africa. It's quite an unusual grey Turako-looking bird with a long tail, towering crest, of course very white, prominent white markings on its side and tail. It does look like it has quite a interesting long floppy tail in flight, and it is generally found in these arid savannas and woodland areas, especially in small groups. So this is perfect habitat here in Aldonio for these white-bellied go-away birds. And of course you have the bare-faced go-away bird also, but I don't know if we probably don't get it in Kenya. I can see it occurs in Rwanda and Ethiopia. So I'll play this call of the bare-faced go-away bird for you. I think I have actually seen that bare-faced go-away bird over in Lentoria. That was quite an exciting day. Our little wagtail still roaming around the pan here. And I feel like I was poor zebra getting impatient, waiting for a chance to come and drink. So we have some more questions coming through. Julian Thomas says, it sounds like the rosy patched bush shrike that are around this pan at times. So let me find this call of the rosy patched bush shrike. Oh, if I even have it in my app. Let's have a look. Thank you, Julian Thomas, for your comment. There we go. I do have the rosy patched bush shrike, which is quite a lovely looking bird, I must say. Definitely would recommend giving it a call. Let's have a listen. So thanks, Julian Thomas, for your suggestion there on the bird call we were listening to. That could be the rosy patched bush shrike. It is quite a pretty little bush shrike. I'm not too sure if the calls match, but I've only got 2 calls on my app. I'll have to have a look and check up on that later. But this little bush shrike looks like he was eating a jawbreaker, bright red jawbreaker, and it started dribbling out of his mouth onto his breast there. It's quite a cool little bird with black, also a bit of a black ring around his mouth. But yeah, definitely looks like it was eating either bright red ice cream and it was melting down its throat, or a bright red jawbreaker and it all leaked down its throat there. So yeah, quite a cute little bird. Thank you for your suggestion there. We've got some comments. Let me address some of these comments here. So Deb D is asking, is driving impacted in areas with an overabundance of elephants? So yes, elephants can cause quite a lot of bush traffic, Deb D. Yeah, and it always just comes down to patience. You just have to patiently wait for the elephants to move because, yeah, again, earlier we were talking about how elephants can be impacted by humans and negatively and cause them to be frustrated and aggressive. And sometimes it's when people don't have patience to wait for these elephants on the road and just speed past and give the elephants a bit of a fright. So if you're ever on a self-drive in Africa, I always recommend you'll obviously have your bird book and binoculars with you. But yeah, just take your time and patiently wait for the elephants to cross the road. Make sure they've all crossed because sometimes there's some little babies left behind or some cows that have been separated from the young ones. So yeah, just be very cautious and wary of these elephants. Maybe you'll find a bird lifer while you wait for these elephants to cross.
My name is today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
These elephants seem like they're also very patiently listening to see if our bird calls again. Of course, when you're listening for these birds to call, they all of a sudden decide to become quiet. So Julian Thomas, I've just checked on my Newman's Bird app as well, but I don't have the rosy patched bush shrike on there. I've only managed to find the call on Merlin, which I've only have 2 calls, and I'm not too sure. I don't know if those calls do match up, but every different bird species does have so many different variations of bird calls. So I do like your suggestion, Julian. Thank you for that. And yeah, lovely to see a new bird that I didn't even know existed. That rosy patched bush shrike is quite a cool looking bird. I think I always think of him as the jawbreaker bird. As I said, it looks like he's dribbled some jawbreaker juices down his throat, or a strawberry, very red, bright red strawberry ice cream melted down the front of his chest. We will try and be patient. Maybe he'll give us a last call. Check out this elephant. Isn't it incredible how these elephants have such interesting skin? Do look like they need to moisturize quite a bit. We were talking about elephant ears earlier and how all their different little notches do help to identify these individuals in their ears. Well, let's head back across to Moella, folks, see what our zebra are up to. still have the zebra congregating in the masses here at Moella in Botswana. I must say, it does feel like it's getting quite chilly here in Johannesburg at the moment. I'm ready for a nice hot cup of tea or coffee. I don't think I could be like the zebra and hanging out in this watering hole right now. It's getting a bit cold. And talking about cold weather, those temperatures do drop quite low in Botswana. I was quite surprised last year during my Botswana trip how chilly it got. I had a few nights that I slept in my hammock, but I guess sleeping in a hammock in the winter in Botswana in July probably wasn't the greatest idea. Had a few very cold, sleepless nights. I was quite surprised by the weather in Botswana. So please, if you do go on safari in Africa during winter, take heed of your guide's advice that it does get quite chilly, and always make sure you take some long johns or a nice warm fleece. Always take a scarf with, pretty handy and useful during those cold winter nights. So Paul is asking, does this river flow during the rainy season? So Paul, this is an ancient water line here. I'm sure many hundreds of years ago there used to be either a natural inland lake here or a huge amount of water that used to flow through this area. But as you can see now, all that's left, even in the dry seasons, is just small pans along the way, around every little depression. So lovely to just listen to the zebra. Trying to see if we can see any wildebeest today. It's been quite hard to spot the wildebeest amongst these zebras. There's just been a couple of wildebeest here and there. So we're talking about winter temperatures. So temperatures here in Moella during the day can reach about 20 degrees Celsius to about 27 degrees Celsius, or 68 degrees Fahrenheit to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. But at night, the temperatures can drop to 4 degrees Celsius and also be a very low 10 degrees Celsius or 39 degrees Fahrenheit. So very cold temperatures. You can definitely feel that cold weather on a vehicle, in the open vehicles during those early morning game drives. Ooh, definitely bring your gloves with you to keep your hands nice and warm. Those hot water bottles on the game drive vehicles are also much appreciated. The zebra are having their say. The zebra are agreeing with me that the temperatures do get quite cold here in Botswana. Woo. I don't think I'll be sleeping in hammock in Botswana in the winter anytime soon. Well, we've got some last minute comments coming through here. Thank you for everyone that was watching today. From Penelope Kenyon, thank you for your greetings, and for thanking all of us for this lovely show. We also have from Duncan, thank you for watching today. It's been a really good day here live at the waterhole. Fortunately, we didn't get any of our Tawny Tuesday luck. No leopards today, but I'll be with you live at the waterhole again on Friday. So look forward to being able to spend some more time watching all this wildlife across Africa. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, folks. And from me, that will be all. Have a lovely day, and we'll just listen to the zebra, maybe have a few nice moments of meditation as you continue on your week. Have a lovely day, folks.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight, an adventure to find Southern Africa's wildlife wonders. Join us on an enthralling virtual safari. Relax, learn, and be inspired. Discover gorgeous species, get to know iconic animal stars, and experience wonderful moments in conservation. If you'd like to